Hi, I'm Teo Nikolakis with Audioholics, and I'm here with Ricky Miranda, the audio experience manager for House of Sound, and we're here in New York City on 17th Street, West 17th Street in Chelsea. And Ricky, we're in for a real treat today, aren't we?
We are definitely in for a treat. We have some of the best stereo systems that you can possibly experience in some of the coolest environments, and one of the best non-ticketed theaters in the entirety of New York City.
And in New York City, this is an event that anyone can come and experience for themselves, right?
Yeah, anybody that wants to come in and experience what McIntosh, Sonus, Faber, Rotel, or Pro-Ject has on offer can come see us and get a really cool tour.
All right, so 357 West 17th Street. What do you say we head on in?
Let's do it.
If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up.
So we're here in the lobby of the House of Sound. So Ricky, what's ahead?
So ahead of us, we have 5 stories and a roof full of amazing audio systems. We like to think of this place as a true extension of our dealer network, where we can give people experiences they didn't ever have a chance to before. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna go up to the roof and see what we got.
Great. What do you say? We head on the elevator and head on up.
Sounds good.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
So we're here on the rooftop. We have Chelsea in the background. We have the iconic Edge Tower where you can have these breathtaking views of Manhattan.
Yeah.
And we're able to take it in all. So tell me what the concept is of this space here.
Yeah, so what we have here is we have a fully furnished roof in Chelsea. So we're 6 floors up. We have these beautiful slices of New York City we can look at. And you get the idea that even in this highly dense urban environment, you can still have a very intimate experience. You have high fidelity sound, even in outdoors, waterproof speakers powered by a McIntosh amplifier. So it's a really nice place to come up and just escape the city, but still be in the city.
So the solution here that we have is we have Sonus Faber speakers that are flanking the outside. So someone who has a real love and appeal for the brand, wants to stay within the McIntosh Group family, can bring that experience both inside and outside.
Yeah, so the speakers that we have mounted on the roof, we have 3 pairs of speakers across the roof that are the new Sonus Faber Asters, indoor-outdoor speaker, waterproof, super easy to install, and as you've experienced, excellent sound, even in a space with no walls.
That's great. Well, we're now here from rooftop to the 5th floor, and I'm here with Will Klein, who's the global training manager for Sonus Faber. And I will tell you, your voicing of some of these systems is amazing. So why don't you tell me a couple of things. Number one, what's the concept behind this room? What is some of the equipment and why you chose it? And then if you have any tuning advice for some of our fellow audioholics on what makes the magic of the positioning.
I do love to share. So about this room, one of the biggest objections that we get when we're introducing high-end audio systems to folks is I don't have the room for it. There's too much glass, there's too many reflective surfaces, there's no way I'm going to be able to treat the room with all sorts of sound panels and all sorts of room treatment, so a high-end system simply isn't going to work with me, right? What you're seeing here is essentially the type of room that you would actually see in someone's home. Untreated glass, untreated walls, there's not panels all over the place, right? This is a real live room. There's a great deal of reflection and even a bit of echo in this room. So we use this room to demonstrate our capabilities of creating a system and tuning that system such that it works with the room even if the room is not perfectly treated. And that's one of the themes you'll see throughout the house is we want to make sure that people come into this environment and understand that this is a real living type of environment. It's not specifically made or built from the ground up for audio purposes, right? This was a New York townhome that we turned into a house of sound, right? So this is something that we want to be able to demonstrate to our clientele. With the system that we chose here, we essentially wanted something that was going to work well. So I chose my Amati speakers because they're incredibly versatile. They have no problem driving a space like this, getting the low frequency extension that we're looking for with the proper loading. But at the same time, they have a mid-range and high frequency output such that it never becomes too bright, too overly forward, right? So the Amati is one of my most versatile speakers, one of my favorite speakers to set up in just about any environment. So it's kind of perfect for this. Now, obviously with a speaker like the Amati that has a great deal of resolution and information preservation, we have to be very careful and discerning about what electronics we put in front of it. All right, so one of the things you'll see here is the McIntosh MC 3500 tube amplifier. So we chose a tube amplifier for this room because it's going to sound a little warmer, a little sweeter, a little bit more laid back than some of our more forward solid state stuff. And because of this reflective environment, we think it actually winds up being a good balance. And then of course we pair that up with our best single box tube preamplifier and all the accoutrements as far as source components. We even do have a room correction device in this, but you've noticed that I'm not even using it.
And it was not active. I asked in every single room, are you running room perfect? Do you have any EQ? And probably, maybe as you can hear in my voice, no room EQ, minimal treatment, and it's really amazing, the imaging, especially the bass lines of how you've really loaded the speakers into the room. It's really something special.
I appreciate that. I don't know if we have time to go through the entire setup process, although there's plenty of other videos out there where I describe that. But with this particular room, and really with any room where we're setting up a pair of speakers, the very first thing, and probably the most important and fundamental basic thing of getting a good setup, is being able to get the bass right. And your bass response, your bass extension, how that bass is actually flourishing into the room and working with the room, is a direct result of the positioning of the speakers, especially relative to their nearest boundaries. All right, so in this case, simply by sliding the speaker forward into the room as I'm listening to it, playing a natural acoustic stand-up bass, listening to the overtones that that's creating and how they're interacting with the room, I was able to find a position where the room had the least amount of negative interaction with the sound that the speaker was making. All right, so we're trying to have open bass, we're trying to hear the bass, especially the overtones and the ringing of that bass out into the room as it would in natural space. All right, so getting that bass right is absolutely the most important part. If you don't do that right, everything else becomes infinitely more difficult, right? It's like building a pyramid. You got to have the foundation. But after the bass is locked, and after we get both of the speakers kind of singing in unison, then we'll also play with the distance of the speakers from each other. All right, that's going to determine not just the punchiness of your soundstage and the resolution of each of the individual instruments in that soundstage and how well you can discern them. It's also going to literally control the size of those instruments. All right, so again, just listening, in this case a female vocal, moving the speakers closer and further from each other in very, very small increments, and then listening from the listening position. We find the place where we have the most air and space around each of the instruments, so there's the best possible separation or balance of separation and presence in every one of the elements of that sound stage. Once I've got the distance of the speakers correct, I also need to tweak the toe angle, right? Very, very important, especially with Sonus faber speakers, but really any speaker out there. There's going to be certain directionality of the propagation of those drivers, and there's going to be certain distances at which that propagation takes place at an equal SPL, all right? So most speakers are designed to work, within at least 6 feet away from them. You don't want them really any closer than that. You're never gonna get a proper frequency response from that close of a listening position for this type of speaker, especially a floor standing speaker. So essentially we're trying to create an equilateral triangle, all right, because that's what's going to give you the best overall stereo presentation and the sense of kind of envelopment in that 3D soundstage. But we also want to make sure that the toe angle is correct, such that the individual propagation patterns of the tweeter versus the mid-range versus the woofers are balanced so that they're as even as possible at the actual listening position. All right, so toe becomes incredibly important. We're also essentially deciding how much of the reflection, especially in the high frequency, is going to be coming off of those side walls. Right? So I can sort of window in and out that sidewall reflection, which, by the way, is important. You never want a sound room with zero sidewall reflection. You simply will not get a soundstage that's outside of the boundary of the speaker itself. This is a common mistake I see for people that have been selling speakers longer than I've been alive are still making. Right? So really, really important to make sure that you have reflection both above the speakers and to the sides of the speakers at those first reflection points relative to the listening distance and the listening position. Without that, the soundstage literally just collapses into this tiny thing in between the speakers. Right? That's one of the biggest complaints we get about this system. Like, I just can't get a good, I want that wide soundstage, Will. How do you do that? It's like, well, did you treat your room? Well, yeah, I got padding here, I got padding there, I got absorption there, I got diffraction there. It's like, well, that's the problem, right? Our speakers especially are designed to work in real living spaces, right? They're meant to be reflected off of drywall or wood, maybe not glass, but obviously in this case, we were able to make it work. And again, we want to showcase our ability to work with absolutely any environment. And one of the reasons we are so discerning about who we choose and who we allow to sell our product, and why I spend most of my life going to each of our sales outlets, each of our dealers, and making sure that they're understanding this technique, is it's not just enough to buy the right equipment. It's not just enough to put it together in a way that's synergistic. You also need to be able to properly tune it for the room, right? Regardless of how good or bad your room is, it is one of the biggest influencers in the total sound that you're going to get. So we need to make sure that we properly place the speaker in the room. Now that said, I can't tell you how many times I see people get completely wrapped around the axle because their room's not perfect, right? It's like, oh, it's never going to work, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. Like, no,
and
the
this
first
room
thing to do
is not perfect
set the speakers
at all.
Absolutely, we've got asymmetry happening. We've got different
Glass
reflective
over
surfaces,
here.
different textures. This is very much a real and very live room, right? So being able to work in an environment like this and demonstrate our ability and our capability, and our entire dealer network at this point has the capability of easily walking into a room like this, snapping their fingers a few times, starting to place the speakers and saying, okay, we can make this work. Going through the procedure step by step and getting you the best possible sound for that environment.
That's fantastic. And what I'll tell you about this room is the aesthetics just work. I mean, there's nothing better than having your McIntosh gear, your Sonus Faber speakers. It's just a beautiful aesthetic.
Yeah, it's a fun place to hang out.
So I've been sitting here listening in this environment to this great Mac and Sonus Faber system, and I have to tell you, what a great way to experience this really classic family of brands in a living environment. The aesthetics are beautifully done. We have a Sony OLED that's complementing this. We have Roon that's serving up all the music. And sure enough, just as Will had said, the bass is tight, there's minimal acoustic treatment, but the imaging is precise, and the ability to just enjoy this high-end system in a regular living environment just really showcases what the McIntosh family of brands is trying to accomplish with the House of Sound. Here we are in what would be a concept bedroom. And how many of us don't want to have just great sound in a living space like this? And I love what you've done with the concept here. So this is a traditionally sized bedroom, maybe a little larger than what you'd find in Manhattan, but certainly not so much so in a rural environment. And we have our Sony OLED, but this is just such a great concept. So tell me about this wireless speaker. So no ugly soundbar, no need to do any wiring or custom installation. So tell me a little bit about this Sonus Faber and how this fits into the living space.
This is the Omnia, all-in-one wireless speaker system from Sonus Faber. This is an interesting category for us because, first of all, it allows us access to a customer that we really didn't have a product for in the past, right? Someone who doesn't necessarily have the space, the means, or the proper location to have a complete audio system, the type of which we've listened to earlier. So with the wireless all-in-one system, we literally can set this up. We can connect it to a television. We can connect it to Wi-Fi. We can connect it to Ethernet. We can connect it to Spotify, to Tidal. We can use Bluetooth with this. We can also do AirPlay. So pretty much any of the ways that a modern person would want to listen to their music, the Omnia will support that as a source. The great thing about it is, as Sonus Faber tends to do, when we move into a new category, we don't just want to make a Me Too product, right? We want something that's going to show what the Sonus Faber philosophy is all about. So even in this all-in-one, we're using natural cellulose pulp drivers like we do in our floor standing and bookshelf speakers. We're using a novel bass loading system in this and bass waveguide that allows us an amazing amount of low frequency extension and control in that low frequency, which again is obviously something that's very important to us, and again the foundation of all good music. So when listening to this, often people are absolutely blown away at the level of sound quality and three-dimensional immersion we can get from this single box. We've actually got a few proprietary technologies in here, and one of them is called crescendo. A crescendo is essentially a way to use full-range side-firing drivers and phase information to essentially fool the listener into believing that the speakers are placed further apart and that the soundstage has a three-dimensional quality to it, even coming from this kind of single source. The drivers in here, we also use the soft silk dome tweeter, as we do with most of our floor standing and bookshelf speakers. So it really does take on a lot of the philosophy and technology that makes Sonus Faber what it is.
That's great. I will tell you, what a great aesthetic. It'll fit into pretty much any decor. And here's some listening impressions. This is really such a great solution for an intimate room like a bedroom. Just as Will was saying, the bass response is great. I've been walking around the room listening to the music, and it's easy to use, highly satisfying. So especially if you have a non-technical spouse who wants an easy way to stream or listen to music, this is a great example of how hi-fi, high-end music fits into a simple lifestyle and a critical listening room like a bedroom.
Each room in the House of Sound has a different size and vision and theme that allows you to see how you can incorporate high-end audio in different aesthetics. You have kitchen ideas all the way down to a 2-channel reference listening room and using bookshelf or tower speakers, giving you ideas how to incorporate this into a regular living space. Of course, you get the opportunity in the House of Sound to sample some high-end McIntosh gear, and you have the opportunity as well to come up close and really sample everything from high-end Sonus Faber speakers all the way down to the full product line within the McIntosh group. So that includes McIntosh amplifiers, turntables, preamp processors, not to mention also products from Rotel and Mishi. One of the unique experiences coming up close to these products and seeing the artistry, detail, and intricate design that goes into some of these products. I mean, look at these beautiful heat sinks on this McIntosh integrated, and of course, that classic blue and green glow that you get from the front panel. Sonus Faber's speakers, you have the imprint on the back of the tweeter through the port, and of course, all natural materials, including the marble and aluminum base that just, it can only be appreciated in person, that then comes together in this complementary speaker. The House of Sound brings all these great products together in a home style environment, not a trade show or a dealer's store, where you can sit down and feel comfortable with these products, engage with them all the way down to sitting down and lounging and using the remote control to get a feel of how that might be in your environment.
We're in for a real treat. I'm here with Roberto Gamba, who is the head of the custom installation group here with McIntosh, and what an experience we've had in this home theater that is here with Townhouse. And of course, does it get any better than that? So Roberto, please tell me a little bit about the vision and what we have here in the setup of the theater.
Hello to everybody. We designed this theater for give the best experience, how we say, in the CI-Fi world. Because mainly we talk always about CI, but we want to extend this word and add the Fi, because we mainly came from hi-fi, and then we try to design all our spaces with the maximum of high fidelity around. So also in the custom installation, we try to share these messages. So here we design a 9.16.4 room.
16 subs. And I'll tell you about that in a sec, but go ahead.
Yes, can be more, can be more. So we designed like this, and mainly we didn't modify the room. So we found this space, there was a theater, it's not treated, so what you listen is what we can get with the product there, because normally we have a very nice treated room in our factories and so on. Here is a normal house, so we can play with this, so we designed this theater, and mainly we have the Sonus Faber speaker. So on the front we have Arena 30, Let me say side and back Arena 20, on the ceiling Arena 10, and everything is driven by McIntosh amplifier. So we have all the primary layer with the MC611, and for subs and Atmos we use the MI502. So we have around 10,000 watt in this room.
10,000 watts, guys.
And the processor is the MX180. So we drive all these with a very high power, but the meaning is not to have power, is to give the right environment for the people that they sit in all this space. So this is the primary meaning. In video, we use a Sony GTZ380 projector, and we have the screen research screen and Kaleidoscape with other partners like AudioQuest for the cable. So we try to build the best that we can in these spaces for the experience.
It's amazing. What I'll tell you is I had the opportunity, Roberto and I sat down here in this theater space and we listened to a number of clips. We listened to Eric Clapton live. We listened to some Hans Zimmer live in Prague. And of course, if you've seen some of the video reviews, you know one of my favorites is Dune. Just really the experience. And Roberto, the one thing I really want to highlight that you said, there is really no massive room treatment in here, and yet the wave of sound that you get is integrated. And I should note, Room Perfect is such a fantastic room correction solution that comes with so much of the high-end McIntosh gear, but you're really not leveraging room correction in that major capacity and the way that the room has been tuned. So the point being that if you're looking to experience a stellar sound, and the point is with the fidelity of a hi-fi system, hi-fi brands, you can absolutely get the dynamics, the imaging, the integration, and all those key elements that makes a theater experience come alive. And it was just fantastic here.
Yeah. Normally, when we talk about hi-fi company, we are great in sounds, but the people think that we miss something like the dynamics. That is one of the primary points in the home theater environment, because we can get focus, environment, and dynamics. But all the product that was designed was exactly for that reason. So we tried to build a product that was super high fidelity, and then with a very high capabilities of handling power. So the front speaker, for example, can handle 600 watt of power and the 94 dB sensibility. So the MC611 fit perfectly with the speaker. So it's a very perfect match.
All right, so we're going to be on to the next room. So Roberto, thank you very much. This was great.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
We have a real special treat. Just while I've been here getting a tour, we have Livio Cucuzza, who is the Chief Design Officer for the McIntosh Group, and what an incredible vision. And Livio, if you could tell us, many of our fans don't live in New York and maybe haven't had the opportunity to truly experience the amazing experience of high-end two-channel and home theater. How can someone really experience that sort of vision? What recommendations would you have for them?
Yeah, first of all, nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Well, our idea here is to show our products in the best environment possible, because at the end of the day, we believe that our products are not only, piece of acoustic developments, they are also piece of furniture or of design, especially when it comes to Sonus faber. Italian design is clear something special. This is why also we partner with the best Italian furniture companies to offer a complete experience.
It's great. Well, I have to tell you, if you all are here in New York, you absolutely need to sign up and visit this as a destination so you can really experience the lifestyle, the artistry, the aesthetic, and of course, just really great sound. So, Livio, thank you so much. It's just been a fantastic experience.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. What a treat. So I'm here with David Mascioni, who is the global brand manager for McIntosh. And David, what a joy to be here. And please tell us a little bit about this room, the concept of this room, and the House of Sound.
Great. And first and foremost, thank you for being here, Theo. It's great to host you. And we're excited to have you and excited to have your audience join us in the near future. You're in the reference room. Myself, when I got introduced to a McIntosh group 7 years ago, I walked in a very similar room, and I got amazed by this introduction to some of the best audio on earth. And that's what we're trying to replicate, a home setting where we can really amaze someone who's familiar with high-end audio or someone who's getting introduced with high-end audio. That's the room where you're going to find top-of-the-line reference products, the XRT 2.1K reference speakers from McIntosh, or MC 2.1KW amplification, MC 611 amplifiers. In the corner over there, you would find an MT10 turntable. So the idea is really to show the best of the best on McIntosh. And thanks to the furniture design from our partner Baxter, make it very inviting, very cozy, and any person coming here can lounge as many hours as they want to listen to great music.
It's great. So as we've mentioned earlier, the invitation is open to anyone who's in New York City. You can come here, you can listen to the reference setup. And the one thing that's really captivated me that I was sort of excited about to see how you all would do it is perhaps there's no better brand for visual than McIntosh. I mean, let's really call it the way it is. It's just a classic brand. And the way that you have designed the McIntosh products, the Rotel products, the Sonus faber, the Mishi products, they just seem like they're an organic part of the space. And I think one of the messages that you're trying to show here that I've taken away with is how you can have a reference system. In this case, an amazing line array speaker, 2 kilowatts of amplification driving this, and yet it doesn't look out of place in the space. And you can sit and enjoy and relax to do that.
I think, Theo, that's a great point. I think at the end of the day, we are here to enhance someone's experience and ultimately enhance someone's life. So of course the sound component is what we do, that's what we focus on, but it also needs to look amazing. It needs to be a part of someone's visual pleasure on a daily basis. I mean, I'm a fan of turntables myself, and something that I really like with the turntable is the reaction that my friends and loved ones have when they see a turntable and a record collection. They're being attracted to this. And so the visual component, the beauty of having a sound system integrated in a cabinet, having the vinyl around, is super important in order to have someone feel like he's going to have a special moment, not only acoustically, but also visually.
No, it's great. So really make sure if you're in New York, you're here down in the Chelsea area, come and reserve. It's free to come and visit the House of Sound, and you can experience what this is like in a kitchen setting, a bedroom setting, a small 2-channel listening room that's dedicated, or perhaps even again in listening space, all the way down to a reference home theater or a large living space where you want the ultimate experience for reference listening. So again, David, what an incredible experience. Congratulations to you and the entire McIntosh group. It's a great showcase. So make your free reservation down here in New York. Thank you all for watching here on this special show on Audioholics. And remember, keep listening.
And don't forget our Patreon channel at patreon.com/audioholics. We appreciate your support. You'll get direct access to us, you can ask questions, and you can even suggest topics for future programs.
It was great being at the House of Sound, but there's nothing like getting a ride in the McIntosh Jeep. So right here, jam into some McIntosh sound. No better way to take the sound with you wherever you go. So, keep listening.